Obviously, there are lots of different properties, and I, in simple terms, evaluate them on size and scope. Size, how much they can generate, what they're worth. Large ones like the Dallas Cowboys, smaller ones like a local university. And this doesn't have to be simply college assets. And then the scope of it, is it regional, is it local, is it national, is it global? In the Olympic space where I came from, you could run this through there. There's athletes, our properties, there's NGBs, there's USOCs, there's NOCs, there's the IOC. There's this food chain, and it's true in any organization, where who's controlling those intellectual property rights, who's controlling those assets, who's monetizing those assets. Jerry Jones, certain assets were being monetized at a level above him. Are you smarter to monetize them down below? And it's different for each business. It's different for each type of property. And the reality of it is, in our space, back to those the models that I showed you there with our approach, we believe the value proposition is down at the school, and that the individuals at that university and their regional and global footprint are the ones best served to be able to go out and maximize and manage those rights. Not from a regional office, not from Charlottesville or New York, God forbid New York. I mean, when we started up LSU, I mean, it was just kind of funny. We were lambasted in the papers, and it was like, the New Yorkers are coming down, caricatures in the paper. I mean, it was all those same things that happen when, universities or anybody, you start to do something, because it's a lot of the same things. It was going to be different. It was going to be change. And so we were getting beat up the same way. Well, it wasn't New Yorkers. It was our people, on the ground, there every day, extension of the athletic department, and over time, we had to work hard. I couldn't spend $500,000 to go, change that message. We did it kind of door to door, and we did it by, changing the hearts and minds of the people that we did work with. And on a local and a regional level, as you all know, in those marketplaces, they're all connected. So in our space, it's word of mouth, delivering, and believing in what you're doing so that you can get through those times. So, but understanding where that fits, and again, I think I did this, I know I did it 2 years ago, because everybody here, when you look at, and I researched all the places you all want to go, what you want to work in, I think understanding this in your job search not only is good because you can sort of articulate to someone that might want to hire you, where you fit, but more importantly, to make sure this is kind of where you want to be, because there's all different types. So at the properties on one side, and then in this world, the sponsor, and I say chase the money, the guy writing the checks, because in our world, in the advertising sponsorship business, the advertiser ultimately is the one that makes the car go faster. That's where the money comes in, and ultimately it's going to go over to the property. And there's a couple buckets in between. There's probably more, but in my model, there's the agents on the property side, and there's the agents on the sponsor side. So in our multimedia rights space, this is us and Learfield and ISP. On the agency side, it's the OMDs and the Dornas, or they're kind of like Switzerland. They're like a whole nother level in the middle. The GMRs, folks that are representing that side. And certainly there's opportunities in different skill sets and different growth potential within each one of these. Down at the property, again, 3 buckets. You're either spending money, generating money, or at some point maybe you're sort of managing this. And I think I created that one simply for folks that right out of the gate wanted to be the commissioner of Major League Baseball or something like that. So that's kind of where I plugged them in. But in reality, all of these roles and responsibilities, and there's lots more in any organization, are cost centers. I mean, they spend money, whether it's for your players, your coaches, your legal services, travel, or insurance to play K&K. And this is the real business aspect, if you would, of understanding kind of where you flow. But that's going to be a cost center. On the revenue side, and there's probably, I was speaking earlier about the Olympic side of things, and there might be another one here, which is government, federal funding, but in simple buckets, consumer revenue and corporate dollars. Either it's coming out of your pocket, your own wallet to buy a ticket, make a donation, buy a drink, buy merchandising, it's follow the money. So the consumer is writing that check. On the corporate side, it's corporate. And again, very different skill sets. Jim and I were having this conversation the other day. Development and corporate sales, similar but not the same. I mean, yes, it's sales, but very different for this reason, because it's the people you're going after. All those individuals and the value proposition that individual may have is very different. So selling something where there is a direct benefit to Len, because Len is going to get tickets for his family and kids to sit courtside, is different than me going to Len and saying, I want to do something for your business. Now, do they cross over? Absolutely. Do we love it when you got a guy with a C in front of his name who loves something and can find a way to, blur those lines? Does it happen all the time? Absolutely. You don't build your business model on it. You don't hire people because they know that guy and hopefully that's going to work out. It's kind of like Blue Star Airlines, right? I mean, we don't hire Rolodexes. It's a very risky proposition if you are only building your business and it becomes philanthropy, which is really what we find in a lot of cases. That's what a lot of the sponsorship dollars at universities have been for a lot of times. When you actually peel away the onion and you go look at those deals and you start asking, well, why have you been giving to the school? Well, it's really just my donation. I run it through here. I don't really expect anything for it. We had but the deals look great. I mean, the deals are like these great big deals. They're getting all this inventory, but when you start to peel away at it, it's not a very good deal for the deliverables that you're getting. So, from a personnel standpoint, though, or trying to figure out where you fit, again, very different. When we talk about multimedia rights in very broad-based terms, and this is the traditional multimedia rights, business, two buckets. The media side, radio, TV, print, interactive, certainly multiple iterations of other types of inventory. Interactive obviously is growing, and there's probably a whole nother business. Sponsorship, marketing rights, on-premise signage, your game sponsorships, and your hospitality. That's been the traditional mix of assets that have gone into what is now this multimedia rights space. Because 10 or 15 years ago, everyone was doing it different ways. There were 4 or 5 different contracts, 4 or 5 different sellers representing the inventory, and certainly over the course of the last 10 years, these are the assets that have been packaged together and represented at the collegiate local level. Why do it? Why outsource? It doesn't have to be college. College does it for a couple of the reasons, probably more on the bottom, but certainly professional properties used to outsource. Our company was founded on primarily the pro market. Our group, before I joined them, was Premier Sports. They had the contract with Colangelo out of Phoenix. The whole left field hot tub idea was our groups to help create different inventory to sell. Sold all the advertising in that market. America West Arena, those professional teams, back then outsourced. Why not do it today? Primarily for colleges, it's really financial stability. It's the guaranteed check. It's cash flow to do all those things on the cost center that we talked about that everyone in this room knows are getting more and more challenging. As I guess for a property of college, it certainly should be the government. I know at Virginia and Charlottesville, I want to say, what was it, Kelly? 20% or 15% cut in state funding for the colleges. I mean, just across the board. What was it here?
Right, 10 this year, probably 10, 15
Right,
next year.
right. So it's not getting any easier. It's getting a lot harder. So that's been the main reason. Expertise, certainly, universities have a difficult time training, developing that talent locally, and there's certainly years of any other outsourced relationship that you're bringing to the table to help them.